You know, one of the main fucking questions I get asked, one of the main things, one of the main films that's got everyone scrambling, rambling, running through walls like a damn Looney Tunes character, am I excited for No Way Home? Am I excited to see Tom reprise his role as a Peter Parker full of potential, full of spunk, full of heart? Am I excited to see Goblin, Lizard, Sandman, Electro, and Doc Ock's return, reprise all these iconic roles that shaped my life, my morals, shaped me? Well, it's complicated. My heart and soul will scream when I see these characters again, but I'm afraid these characters won't have the same impact they once had. I'm afraid that instead of feeling sympathy and empathy for these characters, instead of realizing the villains are victims of their traumas and broken minds, that they're just going to be bad guys for Spider-Man to punch and say, I did it, I won. I'm afraid because the same people that are writing these iconic heroes and emotionally vulnerable characters also wrote Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Not a truth serum.
Oh, okay. Hey, I believe you.
It's not a truth serum.
If it walk like duck and talk like ducks, the truth serum.
Nothing against them, I'm sure they weren't given much leeway in writing, but the point is, I'm afraid. Well, this is it. So now I actually go see No Way Home. And, I'm skeptical. That's my, beginning before I see the film thoughts. So, I'm skeptical on what they're gonna do. So, I've heard good things, but I guess I won't know until I see it for myself, so I'll see you when I see it.
Poor Peter Parker.
Misery, misery, misery. That's what you've chosen.
Hello, Peter.
It's my birthday. Now it's time for me to light my candle.
I didn't want this. But I had no choice.
Pizza time. Where is he? Where's my dad? He didn't think it was his responsibility to be here to tell me this himself. I'll tell you what it says. It says I love you. Because I love you. Stay with me. Stay with me. Stay with me. Stay with me. You stay with me.
To be honest, I wasn't excited about No Way Home. If it was going to be anything like Far From Home, I wasn't having it. I wasn't vibing with the Mr. Stark talk, with the revenge on Tony Stark talk, with the fucking Iron Boy Jr. talk. It wasn't for me. It wasn't the Spider-Man that made me. It wasn't the Spider-Man that taught me all the lessons, the morals, the consequences that life can have on you. Then a little rumor came about. A rumor that this movie would be a multiverse movie, that it would feature a lot of villains from previous Spider-Man movies, and Spider-Man would have to deal with it. The rumors kept going on, and it wouldn't stop. It got to the point where I was tired of it. I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to hear anything else about this movie, because that is all everyone was talking about. I think it's safe to say that I was tired. So what's the verdict? What did I think about the third highest grossing movie since Endgame? Honestly, it was really good. I really liked it a lot. Peter in this film has the worst fucking time. People die, everyone blames him for something that he didn't do, and it gets to the point where Peter Parker breaks. Peter is so filled with anger and rage that he can't take it anymore. I don't know if you guys are aware of this or not, but it's very difficult for me to talk about this movie. Not because I didn't like it, not because it's a difficult movie to talk about, because it's not that difficult to talk about, but to me it's kind of like talking about Endgame. I haven't talked about Endgame on my channel. I haven't even spoken of it. I mean, other than a few lines from a few videos, like the Loki video, I haven't really spoken about it. But there's so much packed into this movie, it's difficult for me to comprehend and put it into words. It's not the best movie, obviously. It could use some touch-ups. Definitely needed more time in the oven. But at the same time, that boost of nostalgia, that first time that I saw Andrew come back as Spider-Man, I had the biggest grin on my face. The first time I saw Tobey Maguire come back as Spider-Man, I had the biggest grin on my face. So what I'm trying to say is, this movie is great, but I can't tell if it's due to them being back or if I genuinely liked the movie for the story and the plot. I will say, the more and more that Marvel gets, the more characters they get the rights back, the more they try and shove more and more and more people into this universe of fucking decolor grading and desaturation. It makes me just want these characters to be portrayed by individual filmmakers that aren't associated with Marvel. It makes me want these characters to have their own single thing, their own series, their own movies, their own thing. I think this movie made a revelation for me. It's great. I'm so glad that Charlie Cox is back as Daredevil. It warms my heart to see that man play Daredevil again. But I don't think Marvel's gonna treat him right. I think they're going to do what they do with every other character. They're going to shove the show up with as many jokes as they possibly can, make it as fucking PG as they possibly fucking can, and not tell any serious storylines ever. Now that may sound a bit depressing, I know, but seeing what Marvel has shown that they want to do with their franchise, I wouldn't be surprised. Not that this movie doesn't show Peter growing up and doesn't show him actually taking responsibility, because it does. But how long until Marvel realizes that they want to tell more jokes again, that they want more money, they want more fucking coins in their damn pockets? I'm afraid that they're going to go back to their old ways. And honestly, man, that fucking sucks. Spider-Man No Way Home fixed Peter Parker, and I'm sure I'm not the first you've heard on this interweb of media say this.
That Spider-Man No Way Home could actually be the way to get Spider-Man back home.
But it's true, they fixed the happy-go-lucky vibe. They fixed the Austin Alley vibe. A vibe that had little to no consequences, flat jokes,
I'm looking at porn.
and over-the-top stuff. And they made him into the man we've always known, the Spider-Man we've always known, the Spider-Man that fails.
Fall. Die trying.
The Spider-Man full of regrets, full of heart, in an otherwise heartless world, a world where no one remembers him, a world that forgets Peter Parker. There's a critical point in the film where that happy-go-lucky vibe drops to a grinding halt and there's just silence. I like the tone that the movie takes once it stops, slows down, and lets Peter feel, really feel. Even after a talk with the other two Spideys, Peter still feels the regrets, the anger. He wants him dead. He wants to show Norman the pain he caused and the loss he felt. He wants his
Revenge.
his vengeance, his justice. After both Toby and Andrew tell their stories, tell their losses.
Uncle Ben, Uncle Ben.
Tell Peter why they kept going after such devastating and heart-stopping trauma-inducing situations that happened to them. Peter still feels the anger throughout the whole movie and never lets go of it. He carries that anger with him until he snaps.
Out am I?
I think it's time I talk about the...
Hello, my dear.
I think when people think of the Goblin, they think of this.
Oh.
Peter. Don't tell Harry.
Or this.
Hello, my dear.
They think of this man that got killed by his own weapon. They think of Harry Osborn's father's death being an integral part in this series of movies that affects Harry forever. When I think of the Goblin, I think of this scene.
I chose my path, you chose the way of the hero. And they found you amusing for a while, the people of this city. But the one thing they love more than a hero is to see a hero fail, fall, die trying. In spite of everything you've done for them, eventually they will hate you. Why bother?
In this one scene, you can tell that Osborn is trying to reason with Spider-Man. And honestly, he isn't completely wrong. No matter how many lives Spider-Man saves, no matter how many good deeds this man does, the people, the press, will look down on him. Yeah, he will have his fans, he'll have his supporters, but the press will always drag his name through the dirt. And I think No Way Home kind of banks on this. They kind of saw it as an opportunity to drag Peter through the dirt, make him have consequences, make him constantly be going through something without throwing some lame joke in there.
Porn.
Willie, Willem, my boy, the man, the myth, the legend that brings his A-game in everything he is in, from the perspective and mind of lighthouse guards.
Bid our father, the Sea King, rise from the depths full foul in his fury.
To the conniving and relentless Goblin.
In spite of everything you've done for them, Eventually, they will hate you.
He takes the cake both mentally and physically. Kevin Feige and the 1% at Marvel said, "Hey Willem, you up for a little cameo in this multiverse extravaganza?" And Willie said,
Because I'm not coming back for 30%. I'm coming back for everything.
Willem steals the fucking show. He slips back into this character he hasn't been for 20 years just as easy as Spidey fits into his suit. He was able to give the mannerisms the character and the mental trauma the character has back to this big old table we call Marvel. And fuck, it is just so good. Willem takes the goddamn cake when it comes to this movie. Otto was there for the money. Gabi was there for the fans.
Sounded like a lot of fun and a good solution.
Willem has the time of his goddamn life again, playing this crazed maniac, something of a scientist himself, Norman, and I am all here for it. As much as I harp about the desaturation and rush CGI, this movie really did bring new arcs for these characters I have loved for the 20 years I've been on this rock. It gives them redemption as well as closure. Andrew gets his moment. He gets to save the damsel in distress, and he saves her, catches her, something he once failed at once before. And it gave Toby a chance to save Goblin himself, something that defined his trilogy as well as his frenemy relationship with Harry. He stopped it, something he couldn't do. As much as this movie is fan service, it is also a love letter to Spider-Man fans, and no more fighting over who is better because they are all amazing.
No, I kind of needed to hear that.
So did this movie fix me? Did it scratch that part of my brain? Did it let the goblin inside my brain be satisfied by the consequence, the pain, and the emotion, the fan service? Yeah, it did. It made me realize that each Spidey is different, all with their own special traits, different adaptation and depictions of my favorite superhero in history, and I am perfectly okay with it. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next one.